Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good.
How are you?
Really well. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for willing to do this.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah. This is your first on-camera interview, isn't it?
Um, yes. Yes. I did a few promos for like DVDs of shows I've done.
Yeah.
But this is yeah, I know. I'm in the internet now. It's frightening.
So I could just jump around then with your career so far.
Sure.
So the first thing I can ask, do you remember what the job was that got you into ACTRA?
Got me into ACTRA. Well, that's a good question. I got into ACTRA. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, and there was a show called Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It was the
Yeah.
TV version, yeah, starring the amazing Peter Scolari. He was just fantastic. And so I looked like the female lead. I looked like Barbara. And so I stood in for her. So you're not like an extra where you're shunned to, the outer regions of the set. So I got to be a lot in the contact with the director and the cast and everything. And so that was considered points at that time for ACTRA. So, and then one of the directors, Savage Steve Holland, who's amazing, he put me in a couple of SOCs, silent on camera, and that counted as points too. So I was really fortunate early on to get points without having to be in a speaking role right away. So that was really fortunate. And then when I moved to Vancouver, I think I one of the first voiceovers I did, I think that kind of taught me off, and I was a full member at that point.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And was there ever any initial aspiration for you to try to move to LA?
No, not right away. I'm a little scaredy cat. I think I did everything very methodically. It was kind of like, okay, acting bug bit me around 14, 15. I did a couple of cable commercials in Calgary. And then I decided that went to university, I wanted to be a journalist. And then the last year I had kind of some electives left over. So I took drama. And the drama teacher, she treated me like I wasn't going to be an actor. Like she was like, we know you want to be a journalist, so you can just read a poem for this scene. You don't have to really. And I kind of took that as a challenge. I was like, well, no, I think I want to do this. And then I went to study privately, and then I just thought, no, I've got the next step is to get an agent. And then Calgary, I kind of did all I could do there, and I didn't want to get into theater. And so I thought, well, I've got to move somewhere. I got to do Vancouver, Toronto, right? Because getting a green card and all that kind of stuff was, it's difficult, right? And so then, and then I got an agent, and then she was in Vancouver, and then it was just perfect. And then I just started working here, and never wanted to go to LA. I visited quite a few times, and my partner was an actor at the time, and we used to go down quite a bit. And it's the mecca of acting, right? But living there, it didn't kind of instill me with any kind of inspiration.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know in terms of anime, it started with Escaflowne.
It did. Yes. Escaflowne. Oh, I love Escaflowne. I got Escaflowne. I rewind to Savage Steve Holland, the same director that I worked with on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I ran into him when I was working as a cocktail waitress, and he was there, and he's like, Jess, what are you doing here? I thought you were in Calgary. And I'm like, well, I'm here now. And he's like, what are you doing here? And it just came out of my mouth. I was like, I want to be a voice actress. I to be a voice actress. I don't know where. I think everybody was always like, your voice is really unique. You should get into voice acting, that kind of thing. And so I was like, and then he goes, no way. He goes, I'm directing Sabrina, the animated series right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he gave me 2 parts on a pre-lay read. It was just unheard of. I didn't audition. I didn't do anything. I get into the room. didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know any mic technique. I didn't know any of that stuff. I was studying, you know, live action. So where everything is like, you know, I was like, hey, what's going on? Da, 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 da. I mean, that's acting, right? But voiceover acting is 100%, 100%. So he gave me 2 parts and he kept on saying 100% bigger, bigger, bigger. And I was in the room with Richard Newman, Jay Brazeau, Kathleen Barr. Oh my God, these are like phenomenal talents, right? And I quickly realized that I didn't know what I was doing. And you can't really, you could try and fake it, but, and so I was awful. It was really humbling. And I thought, I just want to know how to do this. I have to know how to do this because it was so much fun, even though, you know, I bombed. And then my agent got me into doing some auditions. And the first audition I ever did with voice acting was Vision of Escaflowne, and I got Merle.
How could you personally relate to Merle at all?
I love cats. Merle, spunky. My voice really, I mean, at anime at that point, they really like that high, you know, dog whistle level voice. And I could do that. And yeah, and I guess I just related to her because she was spunky. She was very protective. You know, it's not like she, you know, I guess she didn't like, was it Hitomi?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hitomi. She did, you know, I think she was just really protective of Vaughn. That's, you know, and I can relate with that. When you love somebody and you see this newbie coming in, you want to be protective. And I can relate with that very much so.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Vaughn, is there any tribute memory that you have of Kirby Morrow?
Kirby? A tribute menu? What?
Memory, he passed away.
Kirby passed away?
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, I didn't know that.
Oh.
Oh, God bless Kirby. Kirby and I worked with Kirby's brother Casey at a restaurant called Joey Tomatoes in Calgary. And so I knew Kirby before I even knew him as an actor. He was doing performance stuff. I don't want to say like clown stuff, but he was doing magic, like he was doing like performance kind of acting. And he was just such a sweet guy. And then when we did, when I started doing anime, I ran into him all the time.
Yeah.
And it was a hug and it was a rest in peace. Oh, Kirby, just, yeah. I just loved being around Kirby. He was always so sweet as an actor. In an anime, you know, you go in and you do it by yourself. It's not like you've got the rest of the cast around you that you can kind of feed off of each other. But you got to hear, you got to hear if you were in a scene with them, you got to kind of hear where they're going with it. And, you know, he was a really sweet guy. Oh, I didn't know that.
I know, would all your roles in Ranma be relatively early too?
Yes, those were pretty early. Those came kind of fast and furious, those ones. And I kind of did a little research before I talked to you. Yeah, lots of just, I mean, I think I used the same voice for all of them, but I mean, when you have a different personality and different character traits and stuff like that, it comes out different. But oh yeah, Ranma, one of my favorite roles in Ranma was we had finished doing one of the characters I was doing, and then they just had another little one-off thing, and it was a scribbled panda that had come to life. And we had there was no script at that point for the scribbled panda. It was kind of ad lib, which is very kind of rare, and what a gift in acting, right? And oh my gosh, it was just so much fun. I loved scribbled panda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, then your bigger character with Ranma, Mariko, she had her own arc, like the evil cheerleader who kind of wanted to.
I know, I did a lot of characters like that. I guess I shouldn't have taken it personally, should I, Chris? I did a lot of like really sweet, but then the bulk of them were, a little, spunky and maybe a little spiteful too. So lots of, I mean, those are the fun characters to play, right? I mean, when you get to kind of beat up on the leads, get to be a little crazy and, scream and yell.
And then I guess would Quest Pariah and Gundam, would that be kind of early-ish too?
That was pretty early. Yeah, that was another one where Kesu, like you would go into the studio like every month, and then sometimes months would go by, and then you would just go in. And like I said before, when you're doing, a dubbing, it's kind of disjointed. It's not like you guys all get to sit around and then you get to actually know the script. I mean, you should read the script before you go to work, but sometimes when you don't have a lot of lines, you kind of get the gist of it. And the directors are so good like that, setting it up for you and everything. We're coddled. Mm-hmm. as anime actors, we're definitely coddled by the directors.
Yeah. I think outside of Ranma, I think the first series that instilled your voice in my head though was Hantaro.
Oh gosh, Hantaro was another one that I didn't audition for. I think I might have auditioned for like Kashima. I think Tabitha did that one. Tabitha St. Germain, lovely, crazy talented Tabitha St. Germain. And then I think I did. No, I don't even remember auditioning for that one. I remember because I was in a Denny's and I got a call from Randy, who does the casting at Ocean, which is a lot of where I did the bulk of I think I did all of my anime there. And they said, we've got this part. It's not a big part, but, and she says one word through the whole thing. And I'm like, oh, okay. That's kind of like, what a fun exercise, right? And so the first round we did UQ. So it was like, UQ. Well, I think it was Nintendo at the time. I don't know if I can mention brand names, but the producers or the studio at the time said it sounds too much like FU, right? UQ. So we can't do that for the kids. So then I did Equi. And it was like, Equi, and that, 2 hours of saying that, everyone in the room had a headache. So we softened it to Uqui, and it was Uqui, and that was, I love Penelope, and a fan, if she's listening, I don't know, I think she was from Japan, recently gifted me on my last birthday, a little Penelope stuffy.
Oh, wow.
And it was so sweet because I've done this 2 decades ago. It just brought back so many wonderful memories, and it was so nice to know that people still love the show. And then now I have a daughter, and I actually played some for her, and she just loves it. The show just went on. It's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, speaking vocally, what do you think is the case where you've had to alter your voice the most for a role?
Wow, I'm kind of lucky there. Lucky or lazy, I don't know which one it is. But alter my voice. I think sometimes when your characters kind of like go into a trance or go into kind of a dark space, I would kind of maybe have to like deepen it and stuff. But generally speaking, I can't think off of the top of my head where I had to alter it. Within a character, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I guess the biggest challenge was with Penelope and Hantaro trying to emote everything, saying, and she had some big scenes saying this uqui all the time and trying to give it levels and, make a reel instead of just being a one track uqui. Mm-hmm. So. Mm-hmm.
Well, what about the darkest headspace then? For a character.
So are we talking morally or physically here?
Morally.
Morally. Okay. Well, when you're an actor, it's a profession. So, you just look at everything as a job and you do it and, you leave it where you are. And anime, of course, can get very dark, I would have to say Gretel in Black Lagoon. But she was an alien, so you could kind of, and that was another one I did an audition for. Carl Williams, who's the director of a lot of the anime at Ocean. He's fantastic. I love it. But he's like, I think you could do this part. I don't think you would have like a problem with this. And the issue was the guy who was playing my brother was an actual child. Mm-hmm. So when we were, I guess aliens, for those people who don't know, aliens communicate through their tongues, and I don't know what was going on there. You probably know better than me because you probably watched the whole series. But Yeah, you had to kiss, and it was the kissing noises and everything. And I'm like, listen, if the child's mother is okay with it, then who am I? I'll just tone down the wet kissing noises. Maybe we'll make it a little bit. So that's kind of dark. Popotan, I think the sisters were always getting in a bath together. You watch it and you're like, no, it's not dark for me, because I'm actually not getting in a bath with people, but it's it's for the audience, and you go, who is watching these and what are they thinking of, that kind of imagery and stuff. And of course, simulating, ecstasy, you've got to have done a couple. You got to have a sense of humor about it. It's silly, it's fun, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that is interesting. I wonder if that is, because I know with Black Lagoon, I wonder if the thing that you mentioned with an actual child playing Hansel, I wonder if that was, I wonder if that was early on, because I know Ashley Ball ended up playing Hansel.
Well, then it must have been early on, or God forbid, maybe they recast it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they recast it because it could have been that one scene. Maybe the mother wasn't okay, or the parent wasn't okay with it. I don't know, but yeah, maybe that, because that was given the reason, and they were children in the cartoon as well too. So
yeah, it was the first time that I saw that, and I was surprised that you were a part of that, because that's obviously way more graphic than any other anime or anything that you've been a part of.
I know. Carl must have taken my sick sense of humor and said, she can do this. Okay. She won't have a problem with it, Yeah.
Do you remember, I can fill you in if you don't, but do you remember like what happens to Gretel?
No.
Okay.
What happened to me? Sorry.
Well,
I had a child 5 years ago, and it erases all your memory, Chris.
Okay.
So make sure before you have children, do you have children?
No.
Write everything down. Write it all down.
Well, both Hansel and Gretel were sadists, and
yes.
Yeah. And then Hansel ends up dying, and then Gretel ends up going along with the good group of characters like Revy and Rock and those people, and then she tries to seduce Rock, and then there's a scene where, because both Hansel and Gretel were tortured when they were like really little too, and there's a really memorable scene where when she's seducing Rock, that she lifts up her skirt, and it's implied that they were a hermaphrodite or something like that. And
yes, I remember that part. Yeah.
And then unfortunately, but then Rock becomes friends with her. But then unfortunately, once Gretel gets off the ship, because of everything that both her and Hansel had done, another mercenary on the good side ends up killing her, and then she's like, wow, I can finally see how beautiful like the sky is, and I can feel at peace for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, it is, if you're going to play that kind of dark side and show it, what a beautiful way to kind of, in the end say, hey, there is always light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. I believe that. My personal belief is definitely, you can.
I don't know if you're aware of this too, but there's still a big general consensus fan following that Black Lagoon is one of the best English dubs for anime that's ever been done.
Well, that's fabulous, because everybody wants to be critical about the dub, So that is so nice. And it is. And what is so nice about hearing that is because it is so difficult to do. It is not an easy thing to do as an actor, because, you want to be able to express, and it's like sometimes expressing an emotion is like nanoseconds. Well, you don't have it. Because it's already been drawn, it's already been done. So you've really got, and the dialogue, I mean, sometimes you can fudge with the dialogue, but for the most part it's a very, very rigid system to work in. And when you're trying to be creative, especially creating all these crazy worlds.
Yeah.
It can be very difficult and very trying,
Do you remember with how long you were playing Kagura and Gintama? Was there any dark stuff you had to go with her?
That stuff. Well, always. There was always like I think one time I sliced off, was it Shiro's tail or I think it was Shiro. Yeah, I think I sliced off his tail and like just like an ocean of blood came out. Very graphic stuff like that. But acting it, you don't really, it's just like, whoa, it's yeah, the visual is more startling than anything. But yeah, she was fun. Oh my God, I was high on that one. I looked at a clip of it and I'm like, holy, I was like, wow. Yeah. I was like, oh gosh. God love the people that recorded me. They must all be alcoholics right now.
Well, do you think I guess the characters you got to do the most with outside of Kagura would be Komugi and Millefeuille?
Yeah. Yes, Millefeuille. I think that's how. I don't remember. Oh my gosh, the pronunciations on that show. Oh well, I have a special heart spot in my heart for Millefeuille, just because it was so lovely to be able to play comedy and like actual like comedic notes, and she was she was lovely. Just loved her zaniness and the wackiness, and that show we got to record like sometimes like you go away. That one was pretty continuous. That was a big chunk of my life there, for that part. And and I just loved it. I love the premise of it. I love the girl powerness of it. And it was hysterical. It was silly and it was hysterical. It was lovely. Mm-hmm.
What about with Nurse Witch Komugi then?
Nurse Witch, yeah. That wasn't SoulTaker. Was that?
That was SoulTaker, and then she got her own series.
Right. Then she got her own series. And that was pretty crazy. That one, I remember they brought in a different director. They went down to Houston. Houston had opened up a really, really big. And so what they were doing is that they were like here in Canada, they hired, professional actors, it's all unionized. But down in Texas, they could hire anybody. Right. And so the director came up here, and because he didn't live here in Vancouver, we had to record a lot of that. So I was doing 8-hour sessions on that one, and I got to tell you, I got sick of my voice. I think I was silent, like I was like, I can't even. But that was a lot, because it's very energetic, that you're like, you gotta stay in one spot. And that was a marathon. That was a voice marathon. To do 8 hours is I don't think they do that. I don't think that's normal. Mm-hmm.
I know that there hasn't been too many instances with anime that you've gotten to do boy voices, but I know you played the young version of Vaughn in Escaflowne.
Okay, yeah, they must have. Yeah, I don't know how I did that. Wow, I must have had to gargle glass or something. but yeah, I can do young boys. I'm not known for it. I mean, now in my, now I'm getting a little bit braver to try things and stuff like that. But when you keep getting hired for doing, one type of voice, right, you go, why would I'll leave it to, the bars and the Saint Germains and the balls, and I mean, their boy voices, Ellen Kennedy, amazing boy voices. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you remember much about, because I know you played multiple characters in Inuyasha?
Yeah, I did a few little kind of in and out. That was another one that was, you could come in and you would do, maybe 20 lines and then go. And so I didn't, and it's such a shame, because Inuyasha was, shown here in Canada on regular TV. Vision of Escaflowne was shown on regular TV too. But I knew Merle, I knew the shows, I knew the art. With Inuyasha, I was so in and out a lot. It's very difficult to kind of connect when you're just going in and going, okay, line, see ya, so, but yeah, Inuyasha went on forever.
Yep.
That went on forever. But yeah, you asked me to tell. Was it Shunrun that I did on that one?
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. She was bad. Wasn't she a little saucy?
yeah. She was like a Liger. Yeah, then she had her own episode, and then she ended up getting killed. But
Yes.
she was evil, so yeah.
See, that's why I don't remember it. I got
Yeah.
killed. Whatever. See you guys later.
And then I know, well, yeah, you were one of the main supporting characters on Cardcaptor Sakura too.
Oh yeah, and I love doing those shows because I knew the little girls and I mean, I don't want to be gender specific, but it was definitely geared towards little kids, and I love that. Yeah, that was a fun one, and that was a long one too. I think that went on for 2-3 years as well too. And I didn't play a jerk, so that was kind of nice too.
Mm-hmm. Do you think this might be obvious, but do you think you have a personal preference on doing lighter series opposed to darker?
I mean, back then it's more fun, I would say, because you know the giggling and all that kind of stuff. It is more fun because when you are doing darker stuff, it's very serious. Your mood is serious. I mean, I'm not a method actor by any means, but you have to get into that headspace, and yeah, I mean, you make jokes in between takes and stuff like that, but it is something that when you think of it, I've always thought of the audience, and to entertain kids, because I mean, when I was a child, cartoons, are you kidding me? I just love them, and of course I love the lighter, the funny, the comedic ones, when you grow up on Looney Tunes, and Scooby-Doo. I mean, you do. You're like, oh, I want to entertain and make people happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, I love the dark anime. I love watching it. The stories are more compelling. It's it's a different level of entertainment. But something entertaining kids is, I mean, you can't beat that because they're the best critics as well too, right? Either they like it or they don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it was a villainous character in Shakugan no Shana.
Yeah. Now, what was I, a TLL or a Tyrael or yeah. I did like a Tyrael and a TLL there. Yeah. I mean, that's just fantastic because somebody with a voice like this doesn't really get the villains. The villains are all like mezzo sopranos and that kind of stuff. So that I love being able to play, the naughty one for sure, of course. Mm-hmm.
Well, this is kind of based off of that, and this is another probably obvious question, but I would take it with Black Lagoon with the content about that. Were you not aware of it until you actually got there to record it?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And I mean, back then there was no, you got everything by fax if you were lucky enough to have a fax machine. I mean, if I got sides, which are kind of sides are like a part of a script, like your character's part that and they were taped to the door, my agent's door, and I had to like physically go down and grab them. And that's how we did it back then. So very, very different than today. And then because of leaks and stuff like that, you couldn't get a script for these anime shows until you were actually there. So if you were fortunate enough to be able to get to, the studio early, you could sit there and kind of read the script. Or sometimes they would allow you to go and pick up the script. But that's another thing. It's like, I mean, I don't know any actors that didn't have any other jobs at the time, right? We were all working 2-3 jobs to put food on the table, and then you're racing down to pick up a script, and it's got to be before the door closes, and so it was a feat for sure to be able to organize everything and be able to get the script, and and then a lot of the times dubbing scripts they don't make any sense either because the action is not in them. Mm-hmm. So a regular script, it's like she approaches the door and she sees so-and-so and there you go. And then you get the scene, right? A dubbing script is just lines, and you'll have exertions but there's no description in it. So you kind of have to fill in a lot. So it's best just to get there on the day, ask the director, ask to watch the scene, and then go that way, record that way. Mm-hmm.
And do you, this might be based off what I saw too. It looks like, do you still pursue on camera as much as voiceover?
Yeah, I mean, I'm voiceover. I mean, it's my first love. It's my joy, especially now. Time just seems to be very precious.
Yeah.
You know, when you're taking care of another humanoid, you know, you've got to try and find. And I mean, I love it. I love it. I still audition regularly, so we'll see. You know, you never know. There's nothing to say that, oh, well, you've got this body of work behind you, you know, you're first in line. No, and there's a lot of new talent that's coming up that's just fantastic. But live action, yeah. I have one after this.
Okay.
Yeah. You just, it's feast or famine in this world, you know, and being a working actor, I mean, the verb work, you do, I mean, how long have I been this? I started professionally in 97. So that's 25 years. Yeah. I love it. It just fills me up, you know, and it's still a challenge.
So talking about some of your on-camera credits, I know you got to be alongside some pretty big people with Door to Door. That was one of them.
Door to Door, William H. Macy.
Yep.
Love it. That was just fantastic. Yeah. Put me in a t-shirt or a long shirt, wearing my underwear. I'm like, it's William H. Macy, you know, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I think it was his good friend that was directing that. And and he was so kind. Yeah. And he wasn't one of those actors who, we shot on location in a house in Burnaby. And, you know, between takes, we're sitting on someone's sofa, and pretty awestruck at that one. Yeah. And the guy that played my husband was Daryl Shuttleworth, who is another dark horse. Daryl Shuttleworth has been in the business for ages, and I knew him back from Calgary too. So it was kind of fun. It was fun to get together with people that you're like, oh, hey, you're here too.
Yeah. What do you think is the case where you've been the most starstruck then?
Most starstruck. Well, like I said before, acting is a profession, and you've got to be, you know, it's a serious thing, and you've got to put all that kind of, you know, but I mean, I've had crazy thrills. I mean, Ryan Reynolds, fabulous. And he's, you know, like, he was fabulous. And we were in Chaos Theory. I played this pregnant Nancy, and it was a night shoot. And so we were on location as well too. And they rigged up a car. And so it was kind of just the front seat of the car, and it was on the flatbed of a truck, and the camera and everything was outside. So we were kind of in this like little kind of half a car for like an hour, 2 hours, just sitting there. And I couldn't think of, like, I didn't want to I didn't want to like do small talk. He's got to know what small talk. So I just kind of sat there. We just kind of, he was really kind. He's great. He was really nice. Yeah, very focused. Yeah. I mean, the crazy thing about that time, he was dating Alanis Morissette at that time, and I was like a super fan. And so he was kind enough to give me a ride home back to Vancouver with his driver. And and he was on the phone with her. And I think I was more starstruck knowing that Alanis Morissette was on the phone. I was like, oh gosh, she's a rock star. That's amazing. That's amazing. Russell Peters, I worked with as well too, with Eva Mendez. I had both, and Russell was great because he gave an insight to comedy and stand-up. And he said it takes a year, 2 years to get a routine. Like, it's really, really, really hard work. And when I heard that, I was like, wow, you know, you only see the tip of the iceberg. You don't see all the work that these performers do underneath. And yeah, that was like, oh yeah, good. You know, he still has to work at it too. He just doesn't get up on stage and start telling jokes, you know, it's work. Yeah, that was really good. Chris Isaac was another one.
Yeah.
Dreamy. So dreamy. So, you know, because it's like when you're used, it's kind of like, I guess, when you're watching those kind of videos when you're younger, and then you actually see them in person. And it's such a relief to see that they're so kind, you know? Yeah. Going back to Peter Scolari on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, he knew everybody's name. Everybody on set. It didn't matter if you just were there for a day. He knew everybody's name, and he would go up and personally shake your hand. You know, he was amazing that way to, you know, make you feel welcome and make you feel part of the process, you know, because it takes so many people. And then I worked with Daryl Hannah. That was another one. Kill Bill. Are you kidding me? That was amazing. She's missing the tip of her finger, and I always wanted to ask her why, but I was too shy. Yeah. You know, she was amazing. Michael B. Jordan is probably another big. I did a series with him with assistants. He was just, you know, unknown at that time, but everybody was like, no, this guy's going somewhere. And sure enough, gosh, he's gone to the stratosphere, you know. So kind. Another one, so funny, so kind. Just, yeah, good people.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting because it was a while ago, but I interviewed Kiara Zani too, and you guys are in a lot of the same stuff together.
Yeah. It's so nice to have like the different voices, you know, and through, I mean, I'd have to say of all the people that I've worked with in acting, the voice community, those are, my favorite. And probably the most talented, well, by far the most talented. These people are, you know, crazy talented.
Who else are you, or who are you closest with then in the VO community there?
The VO community, well, one of my favorite humans on the planet is Sam Vincent.
Okay.
You can't, oh yeah. Sam could do it all. Like if you, even female, like you could just put Sam in a room and go, okay, just do everything. And he'd be like, okay, yeah. He's a star. And he's funny. I always joke with Sam, I think he should be a stand-up because he is hysterical, you know, just so funny. I mean, you know, but I mean, the Littlest Pet Shop crew that I worked with, you know, I have very fond memories of them. You know, you've got Ashley Ball, crazy talented, Shannon Chan Kent, Nicole Oliver, Kira Tozer, you know, and then the boys, you know, but yeah, just really, really great to be part of that community and to watch them work. That's the great thing, is if you get to actually watch these pros work, you can learn a lot. But it's just, it's wonderful.
Were you, did you know Monica's story at all before she got out of VO?
No, I didn't. There was a couple of ones that were in where I never kind of met because it was anime situation. And if they were doing a session after you kind of would meet them in the, you know, the cafe, the coffee area. But I never met Monica. No.
Well, and it is cool too that the only VO role that Sarah Strange had, you know who that is?
Yes. Yeah. I do. Yes.
She was Ranma, and then that's the only VO that she did before she went on to have her career that she said.
I know it's crazy. I who knows what, maybe she was too busy. You never know scheduling, you know. I mean, Kelly Sheridan, she was one of the first when she played Hitomi, and Kelly was Barbie. I mean, Kelly, come on. She's like crazy talented as well too, and she does a lot of theater too, right? She's yeah. I mean, it's just all of them, right? I mean, I don't want to like leave anybody out, but I literally, you know, the new crew, you know, Kazumi, Diana, like I worked with them on Lala Loopsy. Anna Coomer. I remember her working with her on Galaxy Angels, you know. She had little shirts made for us, you know. Like I know it's just such a lovely community. I never had anybody do that on any live action sets that I did, you know. Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you mentioned her in the first ever gig that you had, but have you worked with Kathleen Barr a lot?
Well, I worked with her, the first one I ever did, in awe of her. And then we worked on different shows together, but not in the same room. And then Littlest Pet Shop when she was, I mean, come on, you know, you've got Kathleen and Tabitha in the same room with, you know, Sam Vincent. I mean, these people are pros. They've been at it for so long. One of the first things that I did too, that was a prelay. I can forget the title. That's not on my IMDb. I did with Tabitha. And I was just in awe that she could do a little girl and then do a grandmother.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, that's how it's done, you know. And Kathleen do boys and acts like it's just it's yeah, it's a pleasure to watch.
Has there been many cases with you where you've gotten to perform with yourself?
How so?
Like in original animation or anime, or like playing two different characters against each other?
Oh, that kind of thing. I don't think so. I've done like I'll do like one kind of like main character and I've done incidentals, but I've never played off myself before. No.
Okay.
No, I've never done that. How much fun would that be? You know?
Well, because with people like Kathleen, I mean, she can do boys better than, you know, some boys can.
Some boys. Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy to watch them when they do it in the prelay. You would think that, okay, well, they're going to lay the boy voices down and then they'll lay the other characters, or the one character and they'll lay the other character. No, 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 no. These actors will go from line to line in their, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's just, you know, and yeah, that's how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I actually did Tabitha not very long ago, and she was.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. I mean, one of the greats, you know, for sure. Yeah. I don't know if there's a lot of anime. I mean, I know Ocean's still operating, but you know, the last anime I did, Gintama.
The movie.
That was the last one I anime I did. That was, I think, a year ago, 2 years ago.
2021, yeah.
2021. Yeah. We had to wear masks. So
okay.
it was recent. Remember that. Yeah.
Are you, because I know with Gintama that the lead is Michael Dangerfield.
Oh, he's hysterical. He's so much fun. We did a movie of the week. They call them movie of the weeks when I don't know what else to call them. And we did one, what was it? Was it Making Mr. Right? I forget which one. So we saw each other quite a bit on set. Yeah, you want Michael Dangerfield around when, you know, there's a lot of waiting to do, because he's highly entertaining and just such a nice guy. Yeah, very funny, very funny. That's the thing a lot about voice actors is really they're comedians. Yeah. Most of them. Most of them. Oh, for sure. And so, you know, they'll just ask them a question and sit back and enjoy.
Mm-hmm. And you touched on it a little bit earlier, but I also have found that everybody kind of has different answers as to how they took the dubbing, opposed to like prelay or anything. Was it difficult to get used to?
Well, my introduction to, was the first one was the animated Sabrina, the animated series, which was a prelay, which was highly traumatic because I didn't know what I was doing. And so, and, you know, and then if you fail, you're failing in front of everybody, you know, but you know, you gotta put your big pants on and continue on. So and then the dubbing, and then when the dubbing came, to me it was like, I guess I was just so determined. But it's like, because they do, the way you record is like they'll do beep beep beep, there'll be like 3 beeps and then you say the line and it's got to fit, right? And I was just a natural at that, so I didn't have to worry about trying to, and I couldn't look. It's like I've got to like see the lines, because a lot of the time you don't have your lines memorized, right? And so it's like, oh, you know, and so there's all this stuff going on, so it's definitely more technically challenging. Mm-hmm. Dubbing, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, Tabitha did say that the reason why a lot of anime isn't done up there a whole lot anymore is because of just the union status of it.
Yeah, she's correct in that. Yeah, and then so when I did the SoulTaker, when I did the final series of the SoulTaker with the director from Texas, that was kind of the, you know, the death knell to a lot of the stuff that was here, because if you can hire an actor down there for $15 an hour, well,
yeah,
you know, I believe that the quality, you know, isn't the same as when you do hire a professional. But that's me, you know, and producers, it's the bottom line that counts in a lot of these things as well too, right? And not to say that a lot of that talent isn't, you know, talented.
Yeah.
I think they should get paid more though.
Right. Well, that's a whole fight thing in LA right now that they're trying to get all of the anime dubs to be union because the only ones that are series that are on Netflix.
Well, yeah, and it's so important to our industry because I mean, anyone will tell you when you first get into this business, you do it for free. Like my first role that I did, it was a Western in Calgary. It was amazing. They made my wardrobe from scratch. I had these amazing hair pieces. Like it was just crazy. And you just, and everyone caters to you and you just feel like I really would do this for free. And then they give you a paycheck on top of it. You're like, wow, and we have to protect that because it is it can be a very cruel industry as well too, right?
Well, do you have any special advice for people who want to pursue VO, or would it be kind of general for what most people would say?
Probably general, but I mean, just remember it's a job and it's a craft and you have to cultivate your craft. And, if that's you taking a voice that you love and trying copying it and making it your own, well, there you go. Try and diversify. If I could give myself any advice, my younger self, is be brave, and try and diversify, even though you are getting hired to do one type of thing all the time, that's fantastic. But, this is your instrument and you've got to be able to really try and reach out, and be original. Come up with your own characters, come up with your own bits, and make your friends laugh. But with real bits, real comedic timing and all that kind of stuff that is very, very, very valuable. Because if you're in an audition situation, sometimes maybe it isn't your voice, but maybe it's the fact that you're just so hysterical and you're so insane that they're like, we've got to put this kid in front of a mic, we've got to capture this, right? And don't be scared, and also, be critical. Like sometimes as humans, we just think we love the sound of our own voices, right? Especially actors. It's like, I'm so shy. It's like, ask me a question, blah, 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 and then an hour later, right? And it's like, you have to be critical. And it's like, sure, you think you look good, but that's crap. That's crap. Go and do it again. You really have to push yourself and you really have to join classes, all of these things that are anything that's available to you. If you have a local amateur stand-up mic or something like that, why wouldn't you go and try that? Be really, really brave and fearless in it because there's more people. The technology, anybody can make their own movies now. You've got to be able to stand out, but always be unique in your own voice because that's what'll get you the part.
So is there anything else that's upcoming that you're part of that you can safely talk about?
Not right now. No, not right now. What did I do? COVID kind of hit us really hard here. The last thing I did was DC Legends, so that was lots of fun. Lots of shooting in Vancouver, and yeah, you never know. You never know.
Well, my final question then is always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy? Oh gosh, that's lofty. Wow. Personally or professionally? I guess you're talking professionally.
Usually people answer for both.
Okay. Well, I mean, personally, to be a loving mother and wonderful wife and sister, daughter, all of that stuff, to be a caring individual. And professionally, somebody then made me smile. I mean, I remember joining an acting or trying to join an acting class, and they were screening people. It was like, why do you want to be an actor? And you're just like, oh, what? I got to answer this seriously? Like, can't I just do it? I just want to do it, right? And I was like, oh, and I really had to think about it. And it was like, well, to make people smile, to make people laugh, so to forget about their lives, whether they're having a good day or a bad day, but to entertain. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I got to be your first on-camera interview.
Look at that. I'll never forget it, unless I have another kid and then this all gets erased. It was lots of fun, Chris. Thank you for thinking of me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had interest anyway, but after I did Saffron Henderson, I had a lot of people asking to reach out to you. So
Yeah, Saffron. She was another one that was going out when I was first coming in. It's just, I love it. And I do a little bit of coaching here with newbies, and it just fills me with so much promise and joy because, when you get into this business, it's kind of like you have to navigate your own path.
yeah,
But it's like that's to me that just doesn't seem fair, like there's some things that it's like, hey, like you should know this, and you got to do this and you got to do that, because a lot of the times you're just self-taping now and you don't know, nobody's in the room to actually say, hey, could you try this, or you're a little flat on there because you have no direction whatsoever. So I'm always here to help people learn about this industry.
mhm.
Mhm.
Well, thank you. I'll be sure to send it to you once I have it up.
Oh my gosh, I'm terrified. I'd be like, you're evil. You're evil. But you have a lovely day, and thank you again. This is wonderful.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye.
Bye bye.